Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So what I like to do is kind of go over what are the things you're going to need to know to be able to combine complex numbers. Now, first of all, when we're combining complex numbers, the main important thing we really need to know is what exactly is a complex number, as well as what is an imaginary unit, which I didn't write up there, but I hopefully kind of think those are obvious. If you're going to need to know how to add complex numbers, you need to know what they are. But what's important about complex numbers is that they come in the form of a plus bi or c plus di, where a and c represent the real term, and bi and di represent the imaginary term, where remember a, b, c, and d are all real numbers. Now, we're combining complex numbers. We can only combine like terms. Just like when we did with expressions, I can only add x's with x's, y's with y's. I cannot add an x to a y and somehow get an xy. Or I cannot add x squared plus x. They don't have the same variable factors. So the same thing, we got to make sure we have our imaginary units r to the same power if we're going to be combining them. So we need to combine like terms. If I was going to add or subtract these, you're going to want to combine your a's and b, your real terms, and your bi and di's, which are your imaginary units. Okay. Also, you need to make sure you can add and subtract. Now, when we add and subtract polynomials, I like to use the vertical method, mainly putting the real and the imaginary next to each other or above one another, and then the imaginary doing the same thing. So I think that's helpful. Also, I also just like grouping them, grouping all the real numbers together, and then grouping all the imaginaries together, so therefore to combine. And the last thing, a lot of times this really comes mostly with subtraction. A lot of times subtraction gets a lot of students, so what we like to do is just distribute that negative sign, so therefore you can rewrite the problem as an addition problem. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's kind of the basics of what you need to know to be able to combine, add, and subtract complex numbers. Thanks.